Hello all, and welcome to Race. Today, we are going to be discussing the many aspects of existentialism: memory and guilt, judgment, bad faith, and existential crisis.
Guilt could be defined as our conscience because we judge whether it's right or wrong by our moral code. We remember the past, and they become our memories. We judge ourselves and others for what we have done wrong and feel guilty about it. Guilt could also be reflection, like mirror reflects us. We can't lie when we look in the mirror, and mirror doesn't lie, never. If you ask someone to be your mirror, they might only show you what they want you to see instead of showing the truth. We judge our past, which is the memory. Memory can be forgotten. We can simply move forward from the past and stop feeling guilty about what has happened. We just have to find a way out. The door is there, it's always there, and the key is in our hands. Plus, we can choose the way we want to live our best life. Why would you want to waste your life on feeling guilty about the past? I mean, there's no point, even if you can forgive yourself, but what's done is done. People who can't let go of their past are obsessed with their past screw-ups and problems. They think their life won't get any better and believe that past equals future, which is totally not true. Everyone makes mistakes. That's how you learn, but you don't need to feel guilty about every single mistake and think that you are the worst human being in the world. We can learn from the past, but don't get stuck in it. Use it to fuel your future instead. The wrong things I have done before pop up in my mind when I'm trying to sleep every night. They are like nightmares hunting me down. I think about it, feel guilty about it, and still can't forget about it. It has become my night routine. I can't remember when I started this. I would rather think this as a reflection than a punishment. Although it's unnecessary and torturing, I still kind of enjoy it somehow. Guilt could also be defined as an emotional experience which involves a sense of tension, remorse, and regret. It motivates reparative actions, including apology, confession, reflection, and pro-social actions. Therefore, guilt is an adaptive and constructive moral effect since it promotes behavior that benefits interpersonal relationships. Everyone makes mistakes, but that doesn't mean we have to pay for them the rest of our life. Sometimes good people make bad decisions. It doesn't mean they are bad. It means they are human like everyone else. Memory and mistakes can be forgotten and forgiven. When you make mistakes, learn from it and move on. I know it's hard, but trust me, it makes your life easier and happier.
Judgment. You may or may not have given judgment much thought before. Either way, it is an everyday part of life and is often overlooked. But judgment is more important than you think it is. Throughout our lives, we are judged by others in many different ways. The most visible form of judgment is judgment of sins. If someone has done something wrong, then other people judge them. Then, their punishment is decided accordingly. Another visible form of judgment is when people voice their opinion on something. But many forms of judgment are much less visible. These forms of judgment exist in every single action and choice. Every single action and every single choice we make is judged. Our clothes, our religion, our race, and our family. Everything and anything that other people see, they judge. Even if someone says they have no opinion or are neutral, they are still judging everything around them. This is not unique to a few specific individuals. Each and every individual judges others and in turn is judged. I too have judged others and been judged by others. You could call it human nature. So this continuous judgment has lasting effects, even if it doesn't seem like it. What effects, you may ask? Well, because we are judged by others, we often try to change ourselves to conform to how other people want us to be. We put on a mask to hide who we are and act how other people want us to. We put on a mask to protect ourselves. To protect ourselves from what? Well, to protect ourselves from the judgment of others. If we put on a mask, then what other people are judging is not our true selves, so it hurts less. But sometimes, We are pretending so much that we forget who we truly are. We forget our true selves. We start reacting to the judgment of our masks, as if other people were judging our true selves. Because of other people's judgment, we restrict ourselves, often going so far as to forget who we truly are. We forget that we have the ability to choose. We forget that we have the ability to change our lives. And we follow what other people want us to do. Now, doesn't that sound depressing?
What is bad faith? Bad faith is we don't acknowledge the freedom we have and think that we are restricted to only one path. This is an idea that the famous French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre stated, because Sartre believes that the cause of bad faith is because of the escape of humans towards their freedom. A famous example of bad faith is that a woman had a date with a man. The woman is very clear that the man has certain attempt to be close to her. But because of her freedom, she can choose in between to follow or refuse. But she purposely denied her freedom, which she only understands the surface of what he wants to tell her. She doesn't want to understand the man's implication. The existence of humans should be free, but because of different properties. For example, a waiter's property is to send meals, to order meals, and to listen to the customer's opinion. When she believes that her property is each of those above, she is in a state of bad faith. Humans are free, which we shouldn't be restricted on only one path. When you feel like you don't like this path, change one, change to something you like more, and have freedom. Though, you need to take full responsibility on yourself. When you lie and you tell yourself that you are suitable for this path that you don't like, this is a kind of bad faith. A person wears a mask and tells his or herself that he or she is somebody, but he or she can choose to not to do that and grab his or her freedom. The nature of humans is free, which we should choose what we want to do and not be restricted by our mask. Sartre often say that human reality is what it is not, and it is not what it is. When you realize that you are not the waiter stated at the front, but you are acting the waiter as somebody that believes that he or she is not a waiter. At the same time, you are free, which you are cheering up and filling up yourself with positive energy. Bad faith also exists. Most people experience bad faith throughout their lives. Just like when you are trying to make a big project that involves everyone in your grade, and you kept telling yourself that all students will be willing to cooperate with you well for the whole project. But you know that this is not true because you can't let everybody listen to you. But you kept lying to yourself that this will happen. This is a bad faith.
We all have a time where we experience what is called an existential crisis. You may be experiencing it now or you'll experience it later on in life. Either way, I am here to explain to you what it means to be in an existential crisis. Basically, existential crisis is like a realization. You realize how much power you actually hold to yourself and how much freedom you have to change your life. And that, in a sense, is terrifying. As humans, we have the tendency to do what Jean-Paul Sartre calls a bad faith. From earlier parts of this video, we learned that bad faith is when we don't acknowledge the freedom we have and we think that we're only restricted to only one path. When you are in an existential crisis, you realize that this is not true and that you have all the freedom to change your life into the way you want it to. And no, I don't mean that we have the magical power that allows us to transform into celebrities in a clap, but rather the power to choose the path we want that can bring meaning to our lives. This causes a realization that what you do has consequences and that you are responsible for your actions. Existentialists like to use the word anxiety when talking about existential crisis. In the words of many existentialists, it refers to a fear of the unknown consequence of the future. So basically, you are worried of what the future holds. And you are afraid that you won't make the right choice, which causes consequences of changing the future. And sometimes when experiencing existential crisis, you'll also be in a state of obsession, where you are wondering if your past mistakes and consequences of those mistakes will become a live monster in the
as part of the unknown future. Kind of like when I'm thinking about my future. Like, where will I go? Where will I live? And will I even survive? And will I mess it all up by one choice? It's terrifying. Anyway, when you think about it, when you think about the freedoms that we actually possess, it is terrifying. A quote by Franz Kafka: "You are free, and that is why you are lost." Finally, if you're going through an existential crisis, just remember that you are not the only one. And the feeling of fear and disappointment you are feeling at that time is just a normal human reaction.